Pryvit.
Bonjour.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Brew, Season 1, Episode 85, a Yeg Music production. I'm your host, Marissa Kay.
I'm your other host, Millie Rouge, and welcome to take 2 of episode 85. We're back. We had some wrong titles, which would have put the wrong band name, so we wanted to make sure we were
Yes, because
honoring that.
we already reviewed that band, and that was
Yeah.
just Marissa being silly on Canva, being like, whoops, forgot to change the titles. That was my bad.
Whoopsies. So we're
Um,
gonna we're gonna restart. We're gonna jump right back
yeah,
into what we're talking about.
yeah, I want to jump right
We
back into it. We're
yeah.
talking about some music news. So,
Mm-hmm.
on this show, if you're not familiar with this show, we review albums, but we also do entertainment news,
Mm-hmm.
which is super, super fun because we're a band and we like to talk about music and our whole lives are about music and it's
Yes.
great.
Yes.
Um, so the first bit of news that we were talking about here, and again, I'm not going to say the word. Um,
Google. There you go.
yes, because if I do, it's gonna pull it up
It's
here.
gonna trigger
So
it.
the first bit of news we have here is about YouTube Music and Google Play.
Mm-hmm.
Google Play. Um, So YouTube Music is basically going to be taking over for Google Play, is
Mm-hmm.
the gist of it. So I'll read out this little thing I have here on this article that I got from mobilesyrup.com.
For sure.
Google is burying Play Music in October. Stop it. Get out of here. Sorry, I did the thing on my phone. It says it's finally happening. Google has decided to pull the plug on its first music streaming service. Stop pulling it up on my phone. Um, the Play Music in favor of YouTube Music. So YouTube Music said, we know that moving can be hard. That's why you can now transfer your Google Play Music library to
I should have
YouTube
read this
Music.
article.
Yeah, it's okay.
Too late now.
So yeah, the search giant has been teasing the end of Play Music since YouTube Music entered the scene in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a slow fall from grace for Play Music. At first, the company stopped allowing independent artists to upload music, which is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
Then it created a transfer tool that took months to roll out, and now it's officially announced that is the end of the music streaming service.
Man.
It's not actually shutting down today. Instead, Canadian users have until October to keep using the platform. But after that, you won't be able to listen to music or podcasts on that service. However, Google's allowing you to, is going to allow people to use the new YouTube Music transfer tool until sometime in December.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Lots of
have
time.
to, yeah, basically you just have to transfer everything over is what it is.
That's
So
annoying. That's like an
a
annoying
little bit,
process to go
yeah.
through. Personally, I
Yeah.
would be kind of like, ugh, you know? Because I know already
Yeah.
enough
But
with like iTunes Music, it was so difficult to sync a new iPod. And when you, back in the day, when you got a new iPod or something, it was so difficult to resync. And sometimes you would like click one button wrong and all your music was gone. I don't know if you ever had that happen to you.
on iTunes?
Yeah. iTunes
No, I haven't.
iTunes
That sounds
specifically for
terrifying.
me. And I was like,
Wow.
okay, well, and I remember back in the day, you used to have to stick CDs into the computer, burn the album. You know, I'd get these from the
Good
library for
times.
right, and then pick which ones you want on your iPod. But it was just like, what a process, like what a freaking
True.
process to. So I mean, I'm sure nowadays streaming is easier with like transferring. I don't think it's probably as complicated, but in my
No,
head, that
definitely
just
not.
makes me go like, ugh.
Haven't, yeah. I'm sure that it'll be like because they actually have something to help you transfer from one
Mm-hmm.
service to another service. I think that's
Yeah.
maybe making things a little bit easier than it would be, back in 2000 whatever.
Yeah, whatever. I
Um
hear that one.
yeah. Back when we all gave our
2008.
computer
Yeah.
diseases to, use LimeWire. So those days are gone. Um but
Good old
yeah, I
days.
mean, who really was using Google Play Music?
Nobody, as far as I know.
Pretty much nobody, right?
I mean, maybe
Why
there
didn't
were
you
some
use
people.
solid? I don't want to say their username, but it's pretty funny. Why didn't you use Pirate Bay? I've
Sorry, I just saw it. I was like, what do you mean? Oh, yeah. Okay.
yeah. So I don't know. I've never used it personally.
No.
Yeah, I don't know because I was a dumb kid and I heard about LimeWire, so that's why I used it.
Yeah, it was a thing
Um,
back then. It was the trending
it was the
thing
trendy
to
thing
use, which
to
is
do.
so illegal and terrible.
Super
But
illegal. Yeah,
but
I don't
here
know.
we all were Going to
So
jail because of
anyway,
LimeWire. What are you in
yeah,
for? I'm in because of LimeWire.
that's really funny.
Oh man.
Yeah, so that's basically the gist of it. So if you're
Mm-hmm.
Canadian and you use Google Play Music, don't open. Okay, good. Um, if you use that platform, you're going to have to move over to
Different.
YouTube Music,
Yeah.
which frankly, that's been kind of on the rise lately anyway.
Yeah, I've
So
been hearing about it. I don't know how
yeah,
legit it is, but I guess we'll see. We'll find out.
yeah.
So let's talk about BTS because
Hmm.
I love them so much. They are set to perform in 2020 at the MTV Video Music Awards. This will actually be their first time ever performing at the MTV Music Awards. This will be the TV debut of their upcoming single Dynamite. On Tuesday, August 4th, it was announced that they will be playing, and it's actually their new English song, which is set to be released on August 21st along with the music video. The VMAs also announced that Doja Cat and J Balvin will also be performing at the ceremony. Doja Cat is like the TikTok star of our century right now, so
Did you say of our century?
of our century, yes, because there's no other centuries TikTok has existed in, so it's still accurate. Okay.
Like, yeah, yeah, I guess that's true. You're
Of our
right.
time. And then on July 30th, of course, we actually talked about this, some of the nominees that were being nominated for a VMA.
Hmm.
And I'm assuming this is virtual. It's really not saying anything about it being virtual, but I mean, obviously, I'm just assuming that's
I
what's
mean, we
going
can assume
down.
everything. We can assume everything now is going to be
Mm-hmm.
virtual, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest.
I'm just trying to see if they
Also,
say anything about it, but they're not. Ooh, they're not saying anything about it.
I'm sure that there's going to be more news coming out. I can't imagine that it would
Yeah,
be in person. If they did, it would be like 20 people
an
would be there,
uproar. Yeah.
maybe, you know?
Well, I'm pretty sure what I think is going on is they're actually going to be at the show, but there's no
Hmm.
audience. It's just a live recording of basically a stage and with artists coming on and
Hmm.
off, just performing and stuff. So, yeah, I'd
Yeah.
be very curious to see like how they're going to hand out the awards, if the celebrities are going to be there. I assume probably not. They're probably just going to oh, there's some wasps coming in here. They're probably just going to accept it, I guess, virtually, or I guess we'll
Hmm.
have to find out and watch and tune in to see what goes down. But
Yeah, I suppose.
I'm glad to
We
see they're
also
still honoring it. So,
we also got a comment from Barry on Twitch. Talking about back when we were talking about the
yes.
streaming services, he said it's all in the cloud now. Most annoying thing about iTunes is when you purchase indie artist music, like in
Mm,
Bandcamp, it's a process to convert it to Apple Music. Absolutely.
yes, I
Um,
agree.
yeah, so that's fortunately going to be all on one. So
Hmm.
that'll be nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of going back to BTS and the music awards, or music video awards, I can imagine this would be a really, really cool
Big deal.
award show to do online because it's
Mm-hmm.
all about music videos. So I feel
Mm-hmm.
like would this not be like the
The
perfect
best one.
award ceremony to do
Yeah.
online? Like, wouldn't that make sense?
That's actually a very good point. I never even thought about that.
Well,
But
because
that
when
is
I
so
think
true.
about it, when they do the award ceremonies for music videos, I'm like, okay, I guess, but do we
Yeah.
all have to come to this giant room?
Yeah. Probably not. No. AZ Films, thank you for joining us on Twitch and thank you for the follow. If we think we know who you are, welcome. Hopefully you're doing great today. It's nice seeing you again. So yeah, we're just talking about entertainment news right now, and we're gonna do an album review in a short jiffy here.
Hmm.
But we were just talking about the MTV Music Video Awards. So yeah, I
And
think that is really cool that it'll be virtual. And you make a good point because the music videos they could do something really cool with it.
yeah. So AZ Film said, "Yes, you know me. Look at YouTube. We got you." Um, and yeah, the interesting thing about music videos is that it used to be such a huge thing back in
Yeah,
1990, whatever,
90s. Yeah.
early 2000s.
Yep.
Was when music videos were like a huge thing, and now I feel like music videos are kind of making a comeback now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, with everything,
Going on,
yeah, with
going
everything
down.
going on, and I feel like more people are paying attention to the visual side of music
Yeah.
more so. I feel like people are
Yeah.
talking about it a little bit more. And even when you look at Spotify, you have those little visual things when you're kind of going through songs. They have the visual
Yeah.
like gifs, I guess,
Yeah.
if you want to
You can
put
see
it that way. I don't
everywhere.
know how else to describe it, but
Yeah. I love this
yeah.
comment on Reddit. Oh, it's the half band Vienna Whyte. I never see the full band. Yes, this is us, the full band. The full
Yeah,
duo.
we're the full band. This is
Welcome.
the two of us. Just the two
Two
of
of
us.
us. So
The
happy
two.
together. So welcome
Hmm.
everybody. If you're tuning in now, my name is Millie Rouge.
And my name is Marissa Kay, and we're going to move on to our next news
Yes.
topic here,
Ooh. This feels
which
like
is
this
a bit of a
topic is
spicy meatball.
never ending.
Never
I feel like
ending
we
with
talk about
this.
this all the time.
We talk about it all the time.
Specifically TikTok.
Snapchat to take on TikTok with a new music powered feature rolling out this fall. Now, we've seen this happen with
Mm-hmm.
app after app after app. Everyone is trying to beat everybody, everyone's trying to,
Yeah.
crush the competition. So, this honestly doesn't surprise me. Everyone's
Mm-hmm.
taking aim at TikTok, but
Yeah.
this is from TechCrunch.com. Snapchat is taking aim at TikTok. The company announced today that it'll begin testing a new feature that lets Snapchat users send their snaps to music or set their snaps to music similar to TikTok. The feature may allow Snapchat to capitalize on the fracturing of the TikTok audience, who've been exploring alternative apps as the Trump administration weighs a ban on Chinese tech companies over data privacy concerns.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So they're
so
gonna have
apps,
it like a, sorry, I'm just confused. They're gonna let you put music underneath your Snapchats kind of
I
thing?
think so.
Like kind of like
Yeah,
the Instagram music on stories? Do you
yeah.
think?
I
Okay.
think I think similarly.
Yeah.
So already apps like Byte, Triller, Dub Smash, Likey, and others have climbed the App Store's charts as TikTok users hedge their bets.
Mm-hmm.
Instagram has also launched a music-powered feature called Reels to cater to the TikTok crowd.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like that's basically the gist of it. Is it just kind of goes into a little bit
Mm-hmm.
more detail about this, but
Yeah. I'll delete it.
and it has some features of talking about like, oh, play this song for me, play this song for me, and like you can kind of search through music that way. I can't imagine that it'll be the same as TikTok because I feel like TikTok is
No.
very specific in the way that it uses that feature.
Yeah.
And it's like a TikTok video when you see it,
Yeah.
right? So I'd be interested to know how Snapchat is going to evolve that way because I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
Snapchat. That
Yeah.
would just be weird. Like Snapchat, I don't know about you, but I mostly use Snapchat to post funny things
Yep.
that like happen in my daily life, my dog,
Yep.
and then I will use it to talk to my friends. And
We
that's
already said that.
basically it. I don't
Yeah.
use it for anything else. Like nothing creative.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, yeah, unless it's the like filters, that's the only part I feel like I can get creative on. But other than that, that's just like
mhm,
more for my selfie taking.
mhm.
And I like
Also,
this. Did you see that comment on Reddit? Is that what you were gonna?
yeah,
Yeah.
I
Cool.
was gonna go into that. So Glixo said, "Wait, are you telling me that there was a hiatus with music videos?"
Apparently.
I don't think so. They started, as you said, in the late '90s and early 2000s, but continued all the way, and that changed the music industry forever.
Hmm.
Absolutely, yeah, you're absolutely right. I think that people just like stopped caring about music videos for a while, is what I mean.
Yeah. Not that they
Um,
stopped. It's just.
like once I think it was because once streaming became a thing, I think more people were just interested in just grabbing the one song here and there. They didn't I don't know how many times like a regular listener to music will go out of their way to go check out a music video.
Right.
So that's kind of what I mean. I didn't say music videos have gone away. That's not what I meant. I just meant like
The
it
interest.
the interest, yeah, and I feel like the interest is coming back in the same way
Hmm.
that it did in the 90s and 2000s. So,
And I think the interesting thing is it's like attention span. I think that's really what it comes down to is maybe
mhm,
why they were not as popular as before is just the attention span. Like that's what my
mhm,
guess would be, but I don't really know why they'd be coming back if our attention span is slowly shortening, but like your guess is as good as mine. Like TikTok has
exactly.
ruined my ability to watch a YouTube video like I've said before. So I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. And I feel like it'll be just different. I don't feel like it's gonna do well, but who
No.
knows? I'm just a person on
Sometimes
the
it
internet
surprises
talking.
you.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like I remember when Instagram, I think it was Instagram, when they first got stories, I was like, "Oh, this is so stupid. I'm never going to frickin' use this." And then
Yeah.
here's my ass using it.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Also, Wife Material on Twitch says, "Hi, good morning. Good
welcome. Good
morning. Hello,
morning.
hello, hello."
What do you guys do with your lives? You always seem to be with us. What do you guys do with your lives? You have so much free time.
I
No, I'm kidding.
appreciate you being here is what we
We do.
mean to say.
We do. I'm just
Thank you
kidding.
for joining us.
I'm
Yeah,
just so impressed.
so that's a little bit about that. I'm interested to see what's going to happen with all that.
Me too.
It's
Well, I
Also,
think
Barry on Twitch said, if it's an interesting artist with an interesting lyric, I do search out if there's a music video on YouTube.
ah,
Yeah, well, and that's the other point that I wanted to bring up too, is what Barry just mentioned was
mm-hmm.
that you're like searching up the lyric and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I feel like that with an app like TikTok, that's actually been coming back a little bit more too, is that, you know, you and I, when we first joined TikTok, we were like, what are all these teenagers singing Fly Me to the Moon? Like, how do they know this song?
Yeah.
And it just like became a thing. And there's even the Paul Anka song that put your head on my shoulder. And I was like, how do you guys know this song? What do you like? What?
Yeah. Why?
And now there's so many things that are just trending and so many songs and so many videos
Yeah.
that it's just kind of becoming a thing,
A
the
thing.
visual thing again. So
Yep.
yeah, kind of leading us into that. I think it'll be interesting to see where Snapchat takes this.
When
I'll probably try it out, but I don't know. Will
yeah.
you try it out if it goes
Probably,
to
yeah.
Snapchat?
I usually give things a fair chance, but I think the interesting thing is that TikTok's really capitalizing on Snapchat, which is a lot of Generation Z. Like I know a lot of Gen Zs will not have Facebook, but they'll have Snapchat. And I think like that's their way to communicate with their peers. Cause like for us, that was our way to communicate with like, well, for me in like junior high and high school, that's how I talked to people was through Facebook. So I think
Yeah.
it's interesting and I think it might do well because they're targeting obviously the younger generation that use their phone way more than the average folks. So I would be very,
Oh
very
yeah.
curious to see if it does well. But I think the Generation Z though, as much as it's like, oh, let's just give it to them and hope it'll work. Like I think they're also very like they can kind of see through things, you know, and they know
Oh
when
yeah.
something's good or when something's not good. And
Hmm.
I don't know, Snapchat to me has like slowly just become less interesting to me, but maybe for Gen Z's it's still interesting. I don't know, but for me I'm just like,
Well,
ah,
I think it's similar to them what Facebook was to us. Like that's how they kind
yeah.
of keep in touch.
Yeah.
Like you remember when you would go on Facebook and you would talk to somebody through posting on their wall? Like, do you remember that? We used to do that. And that was just for everybody to see. Just
Oh,
everybody
that
would
was
just look at the
funny.
conversation you were
That was
having.
funny. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
Or like
Good
Facebook
times.
notes when you would do those quizzes on notes and you would post that as
Yes,
like
and
the
you tag
dumbest
your
thing.
friends in them. Or
Ugh,
they had something called like the honesty box, and that was a terrible
ugh.
thing because
That was the
people would
worst
just
thing
shit
ever.
on you, and they would be anonymous, so they would be like the meanest people. But I mean, I
That was
didn't
the worst
experience
thing
that
ever.
bad of an honesty box, but I just know that some people were like ripped apart, and I
Oh
wouldn't want
yeah.
to wouldn't want to deal with that.
Yeah. Well, and I wanted to Glixo, people back in the day connected to music and how it sounded, but now it's more about how a video connects and without it pretty much nothing goes. Look at all the billion plus artists. Also the topic I'm kind of researching on. Okay, cool.
Ah, very interesting.
Yeah, so actually I wanted to ask you this question before we moved on to our
Yeah.
album review because I feel like this might date us both.
Oh no. Oh no.
Also, AZ Film said, yes, I'm Gen Z and I don't like Snapchat and TikTok. The only social media I use is YouTube and Reddit and Twitch. Nice.
I can tell.
Solid. I love it. But I wanted to ask you, and I will answer this question as well. When did you get your first phone and what kind of phone was it?
I was 17 because my mother refused to give me a phone before I was like 16 because she's like, you don't need it. And now I feel like I'm going to be that parent that's like, you don't need it.
What
So
kind of phone was it?
it was an LG Kibo 2. So for those
Ooh,
of you that don't know, it
fancy.
would look like this, like a phone, but this bottom half had keys, like so you could text like with your fingers. I know. And there's these buttons you would text with, but then you could open it so it would go like this, and then it would open
That
like
sideways.
this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then this became the keyboard, and this was the screen. So you'd be like like on X mode, you know, just like texting so much faster. But at the same time, when you were in class in high school and you're opening up your phone, you're like trying to text secretly, and you're like how obvious does that look that you're on your phone?
Oh, yeah,
So
absolutely.
I mean, kids
Um,
aren't discreet nowadays, anyways, with
no,
iPhones, but still,
not at all.
they try. But you can tell.
Yeah, I was gonna say the one thing I miss about phones is the buttons. I got my first phone, I think when I was either 13 or 14, and
Nice.
it was a Nokia flip phone.
Ooh, nice.
And you want to know the funniest part is I still have it. It's
What?
still sitting in my
What are
dresser.
you
I
doing
still
with
have
it?
it. It's like one of those flip phones. Sometimes I use it as a prop when I was in high school. I would use
Uh,
it as a prop.
yeah.
But it yeah, it did this. So when you like listen, it did that.
Yeah.
And my favorite part
Could
was
do
like
that.
slamming it shut was my
Yeah.
favorite thing ever.
Goodbye, Ricky.
And and it was one of those things where you had to press the buttons a certain amount of times to text. So
Yep.
like
Yep.
hi would be
Mine
like
too.
1 2 1 2 3, like that's what it would
That
be.
was
So
exhausting.
I became a master of texting without looking. I knew exactly what I was typing. I was so fast at it. And then touch screens came and I was like, now I got to sit down and actually like do
You gotta
this. And I
look.
hate it. Hate it.
You just age
So
yourself by doing that. That's what my dad does. One finger. You gotta do.
no, I text like this, but it's just
Okay,
annoying.
good.
I
I was
have to
like,
like sit
woo.
down. Sometimes I have to sit down and do this.
Yeah,
So I'm just like, it's too, my thumbs just hurt too much when I text that way. But anyway,
I feel you.
so yeah. Also we got another comment on uh Reddit here from Glixo. Glixo, you're killing it right now. Said, how did K-pop reach the global audience and how it reached such massive fan base and recognition in a short period of time? One answer is I know dance and music mix, which teens and young crowds relate. But come on, guys, I don't get it.
I love on
I think
Twitch.
there's
There's more
what?
comments too. AZ Film was like, the keyboard sounds though, they're like ASMR.
Oh, so good. Okay, I promise on tomorrow's morning brew, I'm gonna find my
Okay,
phone and
clap
I'm
me
gonna
quick.
have it here and I'll do a little bit of ASMR
Yes.
tomorrow morning.
Well, Barry actually
Join us tomorrow
said,
morning.
I remember when phones were hardwired into your car. And he's like, I'm ancient. I don't remember having those. So maybe we did
Like like you had a car phone and that was like
those were
the height
so
of
weird
luxury.
though. I remember
Yeah.
seeing them in some cars. I've never had one like in my family or anything, but they're so weird. What a weird concept. I mean, cool probably at the time, but like
Yeah, it's really interesting. But anyway, speaking of
I could talk about phones
I don't
all
know.
day.
I don't have a good segue for this. Let's just get let's just get into our
Speaking
next
of
segment here.
things that are great to have in your life, let's talk about the album
Great
of the
segue.
day.
Great segue.
I tried.
Um so yeah, we're going to be talking about the album The Sun and Her Scorch by the band Dizzy. And if you guys want to listen along, we have some links here. You guys can check out the album. I'll put it in the oh, it's right there. Perfect.
Boom.
I'll also put it in Reddit if you guys want to check this out. So the link is right there if you guys want to check that out.
Beautiful.
Blood
This is
Warlock
the
says the whale emoji. That's cute.
That is
I
cute.
like it. Glixo said also good point about phones. Ha ha ha. That's funny. Yeah, so we're gonna get into our album review. So again, I'm gonna hit play on this album.
Same Z's.
We're gonna put it in our headphones and we're gonna talk about this amazing Canadian band.
A.
Hey.
And we hope you do the same. Go open your Spotify or your Google Music or your
Yes.
Apple Music and listen along with us to The Sun and Her Scorch.
Yes.
So what did you find out about these artists? I want to hear more about them.
Yeah, they're really, really cool. They have been a band since 2015. So they're less than a decade old, which is really cool. They're
Yeah.
an indie pop band from Oshawa, Ontario.
Ah.
They had their debut album, Baby Teeth. It won the Juno Award for Alternative Album of the Year at Juno Awards in 2019, which is really cool. So there are 4 members: Katie Munshaw, she's on lead vocals; Alex Spencer on guitar; Mackenzie Spencer on bass and vocals; and Charlie Spencer on drums, synth, guitar, and vocals. I wonder if they're related, if any of them are related. No, but it's all jokes. So consisting of Katie, instrumentalist Alex, and Charlie, the group released Baby Teeth in 2018. Their album was promoted with a concert tour in Canada, in United States, and Europe. And then just going through here, there's a couple other things I wanted to mention. For where is it? So 2019, they also got nominated for Breakthrough Group of the Year, but they won Alternative Album of the Year, which is really cool. So yeah, they're a Canadian band, which is amazing, and I love it, and it makes me very happy in my heart. And their sound is kind of described as dreamy indie pop.
Yep.
So, where is it? Vocalist and songwriter Katie and Charlie Spencer started playing together in high school and were more of an acoustic folk pop duo than anything fully resembling Dizzy. Oh my God, you can hear some of Charlie's their covers on Charlie's old SoundCloud page. So heck
Nice.
yeah, I'm gonna open that tab right now. So three of the band's four
That's
members are
cool.
siblings, all 1 year apart. That's pretty neat. Um, and then we have a little quote by them from Katie. She said, "We watched Partner earlier, and I was like, I kind of want to be them. Every show
Mm.
that we go to, I kind of want to be the that other band. I feel like I'm drawing inspiration from all these different people," which absolutely makes sense. I do
Yeah.
that all the time. So, yeah, they're really cool. They're killing it. And oh my God, I'm so excited to listen to these songs now. I'm going to listen to them hard later. It's going to be great.
Have you
So,
did
yeah.
you hear of this band before this review today?
No, I haven't actually.
Okay.
Did you?
No, I haven't either. I was just curious because I was like, they're Canadian, and somehow I didn't hear about them. But just goes to show Canada's bigger than you think, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
So want to talk about the album itself. So
Mm-hmm.
this album was recorded at Quebec's Mechanic Land Studios and in Katie's mother's basement. The Sun and Her Scorch was produced by Dizzy and mixed by Craig Sylvie, who worked with people like Arcade Fire, Florence and the Machine, which I could definitely see. The album was released on July 31st via Communion Records. So The Sun and Her Scorch follows Dizzy's 2018 debut, Baby Teeth, which you talked about. There's 11 tracks in length. The album, again, was recorded at Quebec's Mechanic Land. I already said that. Baby Teeth was all about the confusion and sadness of my late teens. But this one is more about the qualities about myself that I'm not very proud of, Munshaw said of The Sun and Her Scorch. I want to be completely honest about the things nobody ever wants to admit, like being jealous of your friends or pushing away the people who love you. So instead of being about romantic heartbreak, it's really about self heartbreak, which is very cool.
Ooh.
So this is an 11-track album. This is one of our longer ones. It's not a short EP. So I want to just chat about our first impressions of this album.
Yes. And for anybody who's listening right now, if you're listening to the album, tell us your first impressions too. I want to
Mm-hmm.
know.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, my first impression actually was from the very first song. The first impression I got was this is a really cool intro.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't expecting an intro song. Which it was over as quickly as it begun, and I thought that was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was unexpected.
Right.
Um, I thought that it sounded really like spacey and floaty, but also with that driving beat underneath. And I thought that was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
In general, I love the richness of all the songs.
Yeah.
Um, and it was just a very pleasant album to listen to. I got excited to listen to the next song.
Mm-hmm.
I was never bored with this album.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
agree.
What about you?
For me personally, the first thing that stuck out to me was the vocals. And I'm not even really sure why, but I think the vocals were just something about her tone was very simple and very
Mm-hmm.
friendly and like inviting. Sometimes when you listen to albums, if it's got like a really harsh, I don't want to say harsh tone, but it almost feels like you don't belong there, if that makes sense. Like,
Oh, you feel like you're kind of listening in on something that you shouldn't be
yeah, you're
listening
just
to?
like,
Yeah.
this is not my normal genre. This is not where I fit in, kind of thing, right? Like,
Mm.
sometimes I feel like that with specific genres of music. So, but this one, I mean, obviously it's indie pop, which is kind of in my general area of music that I listen to. So
Mm-hmm.
for me, I really enjoyed the listen, like you said, and it was enjoyable to listen to. So some things that I really enjoyed on this album, I liked the band's simplicity. There was no like overcompensating in the music to make you like their music. Sometimes I feel like bands just try and like give their everything just so you like their album, and it's like I get it because you want people to enjoy your music when it comes out, but it's like if you're
Mm-hmm.
trying so hard to push something out, it becomes like inauthentic, right?
Yeah.
So their music had like really subtle elements, and some elements were really unique, right? So there's a lot of subtleness, but then there's also these certain tones of like the guitar, for example, that were really unique and really like made certain songs on the album for me. So for example, like the piano and synth stuck out for me in a lot of the songs, and just the
Yeah.
way they were played and the melodic phrasing, I really, really was like this takes it a step above being just an average indie song. So,
Hmm.
what were some things that you liked about the album overall?
Um, yeah, well, in general, actually, I wanted to read a comment here before I
Mm-hmm.
got into that.
Sure.
Barry said, "Good and Right is my favorite track so far,"
Ah, you're
which is really
listening.
cool. Glad you
Nice.
like that. Yay!
Thanks for
Glad you're
listening.
listening.
Yeah.
I'm almost on that song. I'm
I'm on
super
that one
close to
right
that
now,
one.
actually. That's
I'm
so
on
funny.
Sunflower right now. Yeah, so the thing that I really enjoyed about this album was in general the arrangements of everything.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed the instrumentation.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said before, like it was just so rich and there's so many things going on that I feel like this album has a lot of re-listen value.
Yeah.
There's something I wrote specifically that I actually want to read here. Where did I write it? Where did I write it? Oh yeah, I said this is really easy to digest on the first listen,
Mm.
especially
Yes.
if you're doing some kind of menial task. It's really easy to just take it in.
Yes.
Upon a closer listen, you get the true depth of it. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's very relatable while also creating some simple but powerful imagery in its lyricism as well.
Yeah.
That paired with the catchy melodies and the rich harmonic content, this album really, really shone for me. There was just so much to listen to, and I never got bored listening to this album once.
Wench.
um, and I had to listen to this album half and half. Like I had to
Mm-hmm.
because I had to go somewhere, so I listened to half of it,
Yeah.
and then I went somewhere, and then I listened to the second
I
half
actually
of
did
it. I
the
thought that
same.
was really interesting to do it that way.
Yeah.
Um, and when I listened to the album that way, I felt like it was a really good book that I couldn't put down.
Mm.
It's like a book where you're like, okay, just one more chapter before I go to
Yeah.
bed. And I wrote, I want to keep rereading this album,
Yeah.
is what I said.
That's so cool.
So
That's
yeah.
awesome. Yeah, I also did the same thing as you and digest it in different chunks, which I think that's always good to do with music in general. Like I think it's just easier to absorb something when it's in chunks, of course. And I mean, that's just maybe my learning style and my listening style, but I really liked listening to it bit by
Yeah.
bit. So, as for things that like I didn't enjoy as much or things that were missing, I actually didn't put anything down because there was nothing that stuck out to me like or nothing that was boring. Like you said, I was entertained throughout the
Yeah.
album.
Well, and it's so
And it's
funny
easy
that we
listening.
keep mentioning that when we listen to albums, but it's just because like the albums that are chosen are just really good. That's
They're
all. Like,
chosen for our liking, which
yeah,
is true.
exactly.
As you
Um,
notice, we don't do a lot of metal reviews
no.
or
I would
classical
be I'd
music
be
reviews.
interested to try one though. I'd be interested to like actually sit down and listen to a full album
Yeah, I don't know if I know
or
what
a
I'm
full
talking
album
about,
of
but
metal. Um but yeah, it's like similarly for me, I don't know if there was anything that I could pick apart in this album just because I felt like it was all
yeah,
um just really well put together and really well thought out.
yeah,
And I don't think, like you said, I don't think they were trying too hard.
no,
I felt like this was a very honest, creative expression
mm-hmm,
without even knowing the band
yeah.
like personally. I mean, that would be cool. Guys, we should hang out.
Let's hang.
Um
Come from Ontario. Let's hang.
um
We'll come visit
but
you.
yeah, I also just I really couldn't think of anything I didn't like. There was a lot of
Yeah,
really cool things about this. And like I said, it has a lot of re-listen value as well. Um so yeah, there wasn't really anything I could really say I would change about it. I think
yeah.
that it was really well done. Even the length of it I found wasn't
It's
too
perfect. Yeah,
yeah, it
for me,
wasn't
it's
too long
perfect.
either. Even this is like one of the longer ones we've listened to lately.
Yeah, compared to the 5 song EPs.
Yeah, but even still, I was like, I thought each song ended at the right time. Sometimes I feel like certain songs they go on for far too long.
With the same
Um,
concept and
yeah,
same idea.
yeah, or songs they'll just kind of stretch it
Mm-hmm.
beyond where
Mm-hmm.
it should end,
Yeah.
like where it feels like it should end.
Yeah.
Maybe there are a couple songs on here that I was like, I want it to be longer, but
Yeah.
at the same time, I was like, actually, no, I'm not sure if I do because I think that it
Mm-hmm.
ended where it needed to end.
Yeah.
I think that's the hardest thing to do as an artist is you want to keep expressing
Mm-hmm.
yourself, but you're like, okay, I need to end this here. As much as I want to keep going, you
Yeah.
gotta leave people wanting more. And I think that's a really
Absolutely.
strong point in this
I
album
agree.
for sure.
I totally agree.
Barry on Twitch said, agree, I'm enjoying the feel good sound. They said,
Yeah.
storytelling, great lyrics, and arrangement.
Mm-hmm.
So
It really
glad you're
is.
listening along. Thanks for giving us your thoughts.
It really is a feel good album. I think
Yeah.
like you could put. I mean, we'll talk about this later, but you could put this on anywhere and people wouldn't have any negative things to say. Like I think it just resonates well. So
Hmm.
Let's chat about. Let's talk about our favorite songs on this album.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah. I got a lot to say about this.
Yeah.
I'll let you go first. You can go
Sure.
into it.
So my favorite song was "The Magician." I'm actually listening to it right now, weirdly enough. But the instrumentation really did it for me. It gave me a summertime vibe, which I always love because I think when you live in a country that's so cold all the time and you just want to
You
like
get summer
escape
for
through
like 2 months of the
music.
year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you really like when you get music like that, you really like appreciate
You
it
got
because
to
you can
lay in
really
it.
enjoy
Yeah.
it. Yeah. So as well, it's the instrumentation wasn't anything crazy in this song like I'm listening to it right now. It is
Hmm.
really diverse. Like it does have its elements to it, but it brought with it a lot of emotions and feelings. Like when I was listening to this song, not that it was like I was like crying, sobbing, but it just made me feel a certain way just because of like I said the summertime feeling and certain songs like that will just give me like I'll just be like, "Oh, yeah, summer. Oh, yeah. I love being
Yeah.
outside. Oh, I'll be with my friends. Yeah, that's fun." So I feel like for me that's kind of like what that song was for me. So I think like either The Magician or now that I listen to Good and Right again, I think that's one of my second favorites for sure. But which
Yeah.
ones were your favorites? I'm curious because I have no idea what you're
Ooh.
going to say.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
My favorite that I marked down actually was Roman Candles.
Mm. Okay, I'm gonna go
So
listen to
the
that one
reason
now.
why was just because it made me so happy to hear the dynamics in her voice and in her higher range over
Hmm.
top of that kind of laid back beat. Of course, like my biggest thing with this album is all the harmonies were gorgeous,
Hmm.
really tight. They followed the lines. They were super crisp. I said, I said, such tasty sounds in this tune. These are like my first thoughts when I listen to songs.
Mm.
It's just like my word vomit when I think of songs
Yeah.
or when I'm listening to them. I said particularly, I really love the chord changes in the progression
Mm.
between the last two choruses. I like the change in mood.
Yeah.
So you might have to go specifically to that area where it kind of changes up because it perked my ear up a little bit.
Mm.
And I like it when songs do that. I know I keep mentioning that in these
Yeah.
reviews when I like it when my ear gets perked up. Um, they changed up the chord progression. Uh, and right at the end, I said, ugh, so good. I pictured, so when I listened to the song, I pictured this song to be like a slow motion video of a group of friends running around on the
Mm.
beach with sparklers. Is
Oh
what
yeah.
I thought.
I totally see that.
So yeah.
I love
Um,
that.
yeah, so that was my favorite song. And I think
Hmm.
I like that image of like Roman candles because that's like fireworks and sparklers and all that. So
Yeah. Absolutely.
yeah.
So we talked about our favorite songs. I want to chat about the lyrics of this album. What did you think about the lyrics?
Mm. I thought they were really cool. I mostly paid attention to the sonic side of it, but there was
Mm-hmm.
actually one in particular that I wanted to bring out here. Um, there was one lyric in, okay, I didn't write what song it was in. Maybe it was in The Magician. I don't remember. I didn't
Sometimes I
write the
do
name
that.
of the song.
Sometimes I do that. I'm
There
like,
was
why
an,
am I dumb?
I know, I forgot to write the title of the song that this was in, but I said I love the inner rhyme of "You look so good, you cut your hair just as it was in January," and then it kept going into
Mm,
the next line. I thought that was really cool.
yeah.
I mean, you and I write together. You know that I love to do the inner rhyme thing, so
Yeah.
I just think that's really clever, and I like it when people rhyme that way because then it makes you continue the thought in a different way, kind of changes it and
Yeah.
evolves it. I don't know what I'm doing with my hands, but anyway.
Well, it definitely
So
like I mean, rhyming in music is just it's just like satisfying. I don't know why it's so satisfying, but it just makes it feel more round and complete in the song. Like and there's nothing wrong
mhm.
with not harmonizing or not harmonizing, rhyming, sorry, but I just it adds something different to a song.
Mhm.
So, I really enjoy it when they do that.
Yeah. What were your
So,
thoughts on the lyrics
on
in
the
this album?
lyrics, yeah. Lyrics were definitely above the average generic pop lyrics. Like when you do listen to your typical pop album, you can kind of be like, yeah, okay, these topics and these lyrics are quite simple. But I think this
Mhm.
was like a step above average. Like I think it was different, and they had stories to them, of course. And I think now that we kind of have the background of the album of what she was writing about, rather than emotional heartbreak, it was a little bit more heartbreak to yourself, I guess. But
Mhm.
So I really enjoyed that, and I think it added to the album having these different stories that are not so sad all the time. Because sometimes it's hard to listen to an album that's about like, I mean, for myself, like you could say like, oh, I've been through so many heartbreaks, but I don't feel like I really have been through that many. So sometimes with music like that, I'm just like, I like to pretend that I have, but I'm like, I don't really resonate with being cheated on. So sometimes I can't enjoy it. Like I can definitely still appreciate it, but
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes for me, I'm just like, it's nice to hear things that are about like yourself or things that happen to other people rather than just heartbreak. Because yes, that is a very common theme in some people's lives, unfortunately. But
Mm-hmm.
it's nice to hear the other side of what happens in your life, other than just love, because there's more to life
Oh, there's so much more.
that.
Yeah. I think love and heartbreak is just really easy
It is
to
to
write
talk
about.
about. Yeah.
Um, Also, Barry said Roman Candles is pretty special. Sounds a bit Taylor Swiftish. Definitely
Oh,
good album, lyrically above average. Great storytelling. Thanks for introducing me to this album. Going on my playlist.
yay!
Yay!
We did our job.
Yes. If all we can do is just get you to listen to new music, then we've done our job, and it
Yep.
makes me really happy.
Yep.
Because we need to keep supporting our artists right now.
Especially
It's especially
Canadian.
nowadays. Yeah, it's like nowadays it's really important to keep doing that. So
Mm-hmm.
thank you for doing that. You really,
Yeah.
I know it's not our own music, but it really means a lot to me when people do
Mm-hmm.
that. So
Yeah.
um yeah, so on Reddit we have a couple minutes left here. So if we do time out, we'll just restart really
Yeah.
quick. Um so I wanted to get into a little bit of our next little category here, which I
Yeah.
believe is
Vocals. Yeah.
vocals. So I have a lot to say about this.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly just the harmonies in this album were gorgeous. And I
Mm-hmm.
mentioned this before. Um, so the first, sorry, there was one that just came into my ears and I had to take a second to listen to it.
To appreciate it.
So I'm going to start with Sunflower. When that song started, I said I really, really like the choral effect,
Mm-hmm.
choral choir effect on Sunflower.
Yeah.
I enjoyed like it almost sounded like a floating choir, and I don't know what it would sound
Mm.
like, but that's what it sounded like.
Yeah.
The echoing counterpoint harmonies to the melody were just so cool. I thought it was super, super rich.
Yeah.
In Magician, I love the ethereal ways the harmonies overlap while intertwining with the melody.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, in Roman Candles, the harmonies there.
Yeah.
And then something about, where did I say this? In 10, particularly, this is kind of a more instrumentation thing, but this goes in with the vocals that I'm talking about. So in 10, I said I love the chord progression going back and forth between major and minor.
Mm-hmm.
I said I think it really well represented the feeling of saying goodbye to something you love, but that's bad for you.
Yeah.
But there's kind of happy and sad memories with that. The
Yeah.
melody and that chord progression, along with the long droning pads underneath, gave it like this eerie,
Mm.
creepy feel. And that was one thing that I think this album really shone in was the creative melodies with the vocals, and on top of that, the tone of voice that she was using in all of these. Like I feel like she used a lot of different techniques in her voice, and I thought it was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. As for her tone, like I really enjoyed her like really lazy, chilled, relaxed vocals.
Mm.
And I've said this before, I think with the artist yesterday too, but no, it wasn't yesterday, but she intentionally just uses it really well, and
Hmm.
I think the combination of her vocals plus instrumentation is like the perfect formula. Like I think if the instrumentation had been too much, or if the vocals had been too light or too in your face, I think it would have definitely made a difference on this album. And I think it's
Hmm.
interesting that they are able to, like, it just means your band is just really well blended, and the chemistry and
Oh yeah.
the ability between each other to just understand, that understand each other's instruments, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at. Because I think
Absolutely.
that's really important to. And when you play with certain instrumentalists or like guitar players for you, or like if you've ever done like a show like that where you have someone play for you, if you don't connect and if you can't, like, I feel like this sounds weird, but like when you look at someone and you're playing with them, and if you don't have that like similar stare or intention when you're like looking at each other, you
It
can
kills the
tell
vibe. Yeah, it
that
kills the
it's not
vibe.
going to sound
Absolutely.
good, and that it's going to not be the
it'll
best it can
sound
be.
okay, but it won't sound amazing like you want
Yeah.
it to, right?
Hi,
Yeah,
Natalie.
you're
Welcome.
absolutely right.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
oh,
weird. I don't
Natalie's here.
know.
Hello.
So I feel like with this band, you said they were siblings, right? Well, some of them are.
Three of them are siblings.
So
Yeah,
that
they're a
obviously
year apart.
helps for your chemistry when you're siblings. But
Sometimes.
yeah, sometimes it's a good thing.
Sometimes it's a good thing.
But
Yeah.
I think for these siblings, you can tell they must be fairly close, and there must be a.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're gonna restart Reddit really quick here. Do, 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 do,
Yeah.
do.
But yeah, with that the chemistry that you were mentioning, I think that it comes through really well in the studio recording. I can only imagine what it would
Yeah,
be like in a live setting. I feel like this
yeah.
album would be so cool to listen to live.
I agree, actually.
Um, yeah. So Dizzy, if you ever come to Edmonton,
Which I'm sure you will because you're
I'm gonna
Canadian.
be
So,
there.
where would you think they
um,
would like sound the best in Edmonton? Like, what kind of venue
ooh.
if they
Oh,
were
the
still
Wind
open?
Spear would be sick if they played the Wind Spear.
Yes,
I think that'd be just perfect.
I agree.
Just like with all the ethereal things, like, and they could get the actual choir to sit in the back and like
Yeah.
sing the
Ooh,
choir parts and
that'd be awesome.
ugh. And then I would sit in the balcony because that's the best place to hear everything. It'd be
I agree.
perfect.
Yeah. Let's talk about the instrumentation on this album.
Yes.
Why don't you go first?
Yeah. So in general, I thought that I like the drums in particular. Um, and honestly, I couldn't tell if they were real drums or fake drums, but I appreciated it.
Either way.
Because I just like the way that it blended back. I always find that drums are either too far back in the mix or they're too forward in the mix.
Yes.
And if they're too forward in the mix, they're always like over EQ'd. And it's just like, or not over EQ'd, over compressed. And they just
Okay.
sound, it doesn't do it for me. But in
Yeah.
this one, I really enjoyed the way the drums kind of sat in the mix.
Yeah.
So props to the producer or recording engineer, masterer,
Masterist.
mastered. I don't know. Anyway, you know what I'm talking
Whatever
about.
word it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was really well balanced.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you why the drums stuck out to me. They just did in a good way.
Sometimes that just happens.
Yes. On good and right, the only thing I wrote was yay piano.
Yay.
Yeah,
Love it.
I enjoyed the piano in in this album because I feel like I don't hear it as much.
Yeah.
Like you hear piano, but you don't hear like acoustic piano. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sorry, I
Yeah.
got distracted because is here.
Oh, Lily.
Someone's here to say hello.
For anyone
So-
who's listening on Spotify, a dog just came on
Oh, yes.
screen. That's why we're distracted.
As for instrumentation, I said I think this is one of the albums this week, like one of the 5 we've listened to, that really shown for its ability for the instrumentation to stick out the most for me. Like, not that the vocals weren't amazing, it's just that the instrumentation stuck out more. And I almost got like a Coldplay type of feel, and it had this open airness, like we've talked about in the instrumentation, that I jived with.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, it's not completely Coldplay, but just in the instrumentation itself.
Yes. Also, one more thing I wanted to mention here, because I really want to write it down, or not write it down, but I want to say what I wrote down.
Yeah.
For Magician, I've already mentioned this before of the way the harmonies kind of overlap with the melody, but
Yeah.
I said also ending on piano will instantly get me to love the song. Are you kidding me? That's what I wrote.
Are you kidding me?
I just
I love it.
I just like to hear I need more piano. I need more acoustic piano in pop music. I miss it. I want it back.
Yeah.
Please bring it up.
Yeah.
Barry said, agree, would love to hear live but smaller intimate venue like background vocals on Primrose Hill.
Totally.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one too.
Yeah. Let's chat about the album artwork. What did you think of the album
Yeah.
artwork?
Let me pull it up here. I'll look at it again. Yeah, it's the band. Hello.
It's pretty straightforward.
Knowing now that they're siblings, like 3 of them are siblings, I was like, okay, that makes sense. Because like the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, 2 of them must be twins, but because they just look very similar, so that
Right.
makes sense. Yeah, I thought they look very clean cut. I like that. I don't know who's sitting on the table or the counter, but I like that he's wearing socks.
Right.
I don't know. I think it's cool. I like that the lead singer is in red, like she's kind of the focus, which I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I just think they look very dapper, very snappy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and there's a little sun drawn in the corner. That's cute. I never
Aw.
noticed that before.
Yeah, I
That's
didn't notice
cute.
that
I like
either.
it.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
simple artwork, but it shows a good representation of the band, and sometimes you just need a very simple artwork.
yeah.
So, what kind of colors did you see when you were listening to this album?
Ooh,
If you were to think about it.
yeah. This was another one that I wasn't sure what colors I was picturing because I
Mm-hmm.
kind of pictured different things for different songs, like different colors for each song.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I think most of them stayed in that kind of green yellow realm,
Yeah, I said yellow too.
like sunlight through tea leaves. Yeah, sunlight through tea leaves is what I pictured.
Okay.
What?
I don't know what that means.
Well, like have you ever had like full leaf tea and then have it like expand in like a cup of tea and okay,
Kind of,
never
yeah.
mind. That was a weird imagery thing.
No, yeah.
Jones Boyram on Reddit said, "What's happening here then, girls? We are reviewing an album
Yeah.
called
The
this."
sun and her
The Sun and
scorch.
Her Scorch by Dizzy. If you want to take a listen,
Check
Jones
it out.
Boyram, check it out with us. It's really cool and we highly recommend it. It's a Canadian
Mm-hmm.
band and we're talking about their album artwork right now.
Yeah.
But or their
So,
album artwork and the colors we saw when we listened to this. So
mm-hmm.
yeah, Barry, I'd be interested to know what colors you picture when you listen to this
Yeah.
album.
What do you hear?
Yeah, what
Um,
did you hear?
what did you? Well, I said yellow actually, like
Mm,
you said. So I don't know why, but like just yellow alone by itself, just that's the color I saw. So I thought it was interesting.
interesting.
What about like where, how, and who you'd recommend this album to?
Ooh, I wrote that down as well. I said I could have imagined me listening to this album with my friends during the summertime and just chilling in the backyard, enjoying the sound of it.
Yeah.
So I imagine, like, we're sitting in the backyard having a couple drinks and just throwing this album on a Bluetooth speaker and just
Mm-hmm.
enjoying it. Um, I could also imagine listening to this in the bath because it's
Oh
just
yeah.
like super chill. Um, and during a cool down in a workout.
Mm. Yeah.
So just like anytime
Or
I
some
need to just like
yoga.
sit and just be in my feelings,
Yeah.
I think.
I
Yeah.
agree.
What about you?
I said either like on a, this is my favorite response, but either on a road trip, or definitely at like, I was picturing like at 2 in the morning. It's like pitch black, but you go out and like sit on your roof. I can't actually sit on my roof, but I have in the past before. My roof would definitely break, but, and it's like pitch darkness, but there's like stars in the sky and you can listen on your little Bluetooth speaker that you have with you outside and just kind of
Mm.
have that as your setting above your head. That's kind of what I
That's
imagine.
very like indie film of you.
I know.
That sounds perfect.
Yeah.
Can I change my answer?
But I said
Also,
anyone who likes like light pop music, easy listening, this is a good album
yes.
to
Oh,
check out.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Barry said it's great for relaxing summer day lounging. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Even in the
Um,
daytime too. Yeah.
yeah, 100%. I would also recommend this album, funnily enough, to like the person I thought of was my cousin Chloe. She's
Okay.
16. And I would totally recommend this album to her because she's just very much that style
Yeah.
of listening. Um, yeah, I'd recommend this album to anybody, like you said, who listens to a lot of indie pop or you like something that's more easy listening,
Hmm.
something that's really accessible and digestible in one sitting. I think this is perfect for it.
Yeah.
And you're gonna want to listen to this album again. Like once
Yeah.
you listen to it once, you're like, I need to listen to it again.
Yeah. So
Like I said, it's like a book you can't put down.
it's true. It's very true.
Yeah.
Let's conclude ourselves here. So in conclusion about this album, I enjoyed this album, and again, this is an album I'd listen to like on a Spotify playlist. I'd be like, "Oh, I really like that song." I'd click the album and then find more of my favorites. Like if this is my first listen, I know that's how I would find this band otherwise.
Hmm.
I can't wait to listen and support this Canadian band more. So I'm super excited to see more of what they have in the future. And I gave this a grade level of A, just like
Yeah.
Canada A.
Hey. um yeah, I also agree. I would love to hear where this band is going to go and I'm excited to hear
Hmm.
more from this band. Like I said, I hope they come to Edmonton so we can actually hear them live because I think
Totally.
that'd be sick. I think I have a new favorite Canadian band for sure.
A. There you go.
And I also give this album an A.
Hey. All right, everybody.
A.
Well, thank you for tuning into our album review. I will be back live on Reddit this evening, 5:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So in literally 5.5 hours from now. Holy man. So I'd love to see you. But until then, we hope you all have a lovely day. My name's Millie Rouge.
And my name is Marissa Kay. If you're watching this on Twitch, you can give us a little follow there where you'll see your name pop up there. It's really fun when you just hit follow.
Yeah. It
On
is.
Reddit, if you want to check us out, we are on Instagram. I'll put the link right there. And that's kind of where we post all of our streaming stuff. And if you're on YouTube, you can like, subscribe, hit the bell button to be notified when these videos come out. We film them Monday through Friday every single morning. Mondays at 9 a.m., Tuesdays through Friday at 10 a.m. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.